Morning, this is White Raptor News Ministries, picking up at Judges chapter 21, Wives for the Benjamites. The men of Israel had taken an oath at Mizpah, not one of us will give his daughter in marriage to the Benjamites. Oh, and this is where they create this story where, well, we can't give our daughters to the Benjamites, but there were these 600 that escaped into the wilderness. They had no wives. So they, as always, the Israelites, they plot this way where they're going to provide this party. We're going to read it. They're going to do this party, and then they're going to allow the Benjamites to come in and kidnap these women and make them their wives, because by law, they made an oath to the Lord that they wouldn't give their daughters in marriage to the Benjamites. So they plot up this conniving little way where those 600 left Benjamites can come in and take wives of the clan. The people went to Bethel, where they sat before God until evening, raising their voices and weeping bitterly. Lord God of Israel, they cried, why has this happened to Israel? Why should one tribe be missing from Israel today? Early the next day, the people built an altar and presented burnt offerings and fellowship offerings. Then the Israelites asked, who from all the tribes of Israel has failed to assemble before the Lord? For they had taken a solemn oath that anyone who failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah was to be put to death. Wow. Well, I always like, okay, what if somebody's sick in the family household, deathly sick, on their deathbed, fighting death, and they don't make it? Oh, well, put them to death. This Bible, man, is a two-faced Bible. Okay? It's both good and evil. Okay? And Israel has engaged in evil, a great deal of evil themselves. And that's what the Gentiles said to Israel, to God. Your new creation is no better than we are. They're just as bad. Give me a time and I'll prove to you that they're just as much a bunch of rapists and murderers and killers and warmongers and shadowers as we are. They are absolutely no better. That's what Gentiles said. That's what the first man, Adam, said to the Lord. The second creation of yours is no better than we are. Now the Israelites grieve for the tribe of Benjamin, their fellow Israelites. Today, one tribe is cut off from Israel, they said. How can we provide wives for those who are left, since we have taken an oath by the Lord not to give them any of our daughters in marriage? Then they asked, which one of the tribes of Israel failed to assemble before the Lord at Mizpah? They discovered that one of them from Jabesh Gilead had come to the camp for the assembly. For when they counted the people, they found that none of the people at Jabesh Gilead were there. So the assembly sent 12,000 fighting men and instructions to go to Jabesh Gilead and put to the sword those living there, including the women and the children. This is Israel slaughtering women and children. How can you be any better than a Gentile man that goes into the cities and slaughters women and children? The American government does that. Do you understand that? We go into other countries, we kill their leaders, and then we insert what we want as a leader, a Republican, to take, who's under our puppetry. They're puppets, okay? This is what you are to do, they said. Kill every male and every woman who is not a virgin. They found, I believe it's 400. They find 400 virgins and 200 of the men are left. This is a weird-ass story that's taking place here. They found among the people living in Jabesh Gilead 400 young women who had never slept with a man, and they took them to the camp at Shiloh in Canaan. Then the whole assembly sent an offering of peace to the Benjamites at the rock of Rimmon, so that the Benjamites returned at the time and were given the women of Jabesh Gilead who had been spared. But there were not enough for all of them. The people grieved for Benjamin because the Lord had made a gap in the tribe of Israel. And the elders of the assembly said, "With the women of Benjamin destroyed, how shall we provide wives for the men who are left? The Benjamite survivors must have the heirs," they said, "so a tribe of Israel will not be wiped out. We can't give them our daughters as wives, since we Israelites have taken this oath. Cursed be anyone who gives a wife to Benjamin. But look, there is an annual festival of the Lord in Shiloh, which lies north of Bethel, east of the road that goes from Bethel to Shechem, and south of Lebanon." So they instructed the Benjamites, saying, "Go and hide in the vineyards and watch. When the young women of Shiloh come out to join in the dancing, rush from the vineyards, and each of you seize one of them to be your wife." Now, mind you, this is the tribe conspiring because they made an oath to the Lord not to give their wives, their daughters, to the Benjamites. So now they create this backstabbing, backdoor raid against their own daughters. It doesn't make sense to me. "Then return to the land of Benjamin. When their fathers or brothers complain to us, we will say to them, 'Do us this favor of helping them, because we did not get wives for them during the war.' You will not be guilty of breaking your oath because you did not give your daughters to them. No, you sent your daughters into a party where they're dancing and having a good time, and then you covertly told the Benjamites to come into the town where you're partying and steal your daughters. I don't care how you look at it, folks. You still broke your oath. Okay? You can try to worm and squirm, and this is what liars do, folks. Manipulators do. Anything they can do to get at an oath. I'm guilty of it. I've made oaths to the Creator, and I don't know of one of them that I haven't broke. As long as I keep reading this Bible to the very end and producing this content, if I'm able to read this Bible to the very end, I made this promise to the Supreme Creator that I would read this Bible from cover to cover. And I would try to point out all the things that don't make sense to me. Not that I have figured everything out in this Bible, but what I have figured out is that Israel are murderers, they are rapists, they are killers, they are no better than the Gentile race. There's only a handful that are walking with the Spirit on them. You are the ones that failed. So they instructed the Benjamites, "Go and hide in the vineyards. Oh, watch. Then return to the land of Benjamin. When their fathers or brothers complain to us, we will say, 'Do us this favor of helping them, because we did not get wives for them during the war.' You will not be guilty of breaking your oath because you did not give your daughters to them." Yes, you did. You sent your daughters into a party. Okay, you're not getting around it, Israel. You sent your daughters into a town to party and stuff, knowing that these men were in the field and were going to come in and kidnap. They were going to take. They were going to make wives for themselves because you set this up. So you broke an oath to the Lord. I don't care how you try selling it. You're an oath breaker. You've been breaking your oath to God ever since you ate that apple. And you've been trained to kill and destroy. You have been left into the hands of the wicked, Israel. And you think that you're better people. There's this channel I listen to. She's got great information. But I see the discord and the separation that takes place. Jesus was supposed to be sent that we love our brothers like we love ourselves. I don't see that happening on this plane of existence. I see the race war that exists is between the dead and the living. But those today that are of the living, they're the walking dead just like we are. If you raise an arm against your brother and you strike them down, then you went against the very commandment that was given Moses when he came off the ark. Those who shed another man's blood by the sword, then by the sword that man's blood shall be shed. All right? What part of that don't you understand, Israel? You're not supposed to be killing. You're not supposed to be warring. Okay? So I got to ask, who is this God, Yahweh, who's telling you not to kill with the sword and then sends you into battle with the sword? Makes no sense to me. So that is what the Benjamites did. While the young women were dancing, each man caught one and carried her off to be his wife. Then they returned to their inheritance and rebuilt the town and settled in them. At that time the Israelites left that place and went home to their tribes and clans, each to his own inheritance. In those days Israel had no king. Everyone did as they saw fit. Ran rapid is what they did. So I'm going to cut out of here on that note right there. I hope you all have a pleasant day. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit of Truth, the Living One, the Almighty, the presence of the omnipotent force that moves all things in place, the Supreme Creator, the one that says that he is not a man, and nowhere in the Bible does it say that God is not a woman. I find that peculiar as well. So, to you LBGTQ&A supporters and you and the LBGTQ&A, your day is nigh, okay? Your evil acts and copulating your life force in the backside of another man's rear end, those days are coming to an end. And may the Spirit of Truth, the Living One, use my vessel, use my spirit to hand you your asses. This is White Raptor News Ministries.